It's the Britt Rachelle Show. Do, do, do. Buongiorno! Hey, how's it going? My name's Britt, as you well know, and welcome to my kitchen. One of my bonehead family members left me some potatoes, and I think I can take a hint. They want me to make some of my delicious Italiano gnocchi. Now, obviously you're going to need your potatoes, but the other stuff you're going to need is some flour, a large egg, some salt. Yeah, you might want to use some semolina flour, but that's optional, and we ain't going to be using that today. We also got a lovely little cheese sauce we're going to be making to go with it. So you're going to need your 2 types of cheese, your butter, and some milk, as well as some more of this flour. Now I got a big family, so what are we waiting on? Let's apron up and get started, huh? First things first, you boil your potatoes. You're going to take your potatoes, right, your spuds, and layer them 1 layer deep into a deep pot, and then cover it with 2 inches of water. Now I hope your family's got a big appetite, because these are very filling, and depending on the size of your pot and the size of the spuds, you're going to be able to fit a good amount of potatoes, which means you'll be able to make a good amount of these little gnocchi buds. You only do it 1 layer deep, you see. So now we're going to cover the potatoes in 2 inches of water. Just drown the little guys. Now I'm going to put in a little more water. Again, it's going to be 2 inches high. What we'll do here now, take a good tablespoon of salt, sprinkle her on in there, mix it in real good. Much as you can. I mean, the potatoes, they don't move much. Then turn your burner on a high heat, because we're going to set this water to a nice medium to high boil. Once your water's boiling, you want to get it partially covered, right? So that it can let some steam off, you know. It's family. What are you going to do? We're going to cover it halfway, just so the steam's letting out. And if you got a complex sauce that's going to take you a while, I'd recommend starting here. But tonight, I'm just going to make a simple cheese sauce. So I'm going to wait until a little later so that it's nice and fresh and creamy. You'll keep these like this until about 25 to 30 minutes, or until the potatoes are nice and tender. Now, you might be sitting there behind your little screen there asking, hey Britt, how the heck am I supposed to know when my spuds are ready? I'm not sticking my hand into a pot of boiling water. That's where you want to get your fork and give it a little poke. If it doesn't go through easily, it ain't tender. Then you just wait a little bit and keep poking until you get the fork through. Alright, so we got our tender spuds. Let's get them over here in the sink to cool, huh? It's easy peasy. You got your colander in the sink, you dump your spuds, you're good to go. Alright, now to make sure these potatoes cool efficiently and effectively, you gotta very carefully take your paring knife, a little one like this, and cut a little slice into each potato. Once you got your spuds in the colander here, all you're gonna do is let them sit, let the steam waft away, and wait about 10 to 15 minutes. You want the potatoes cool to the touch so you can handle them proper, but you don't want to let them get cold, because who likes some cold potatoes, huh? Once you got some nice and cool spuds there, next thing you're going to do is a process called ricing the potatoes. You're basically taking your potatoes and mushing them up into pieces that are about the size of a grain of rice, right? Pretty obvious in the name. Now, I don't have a potato ricer in my kitchen, but I do have a cheese grater. But if you don't have either of those, you can always just cut it up with a knife. As long as you get the pieces nice and small, you're good to go. But before you do that, make sure you got a clean work surface and sprinkle it all over with some flour. Because you're grating the potatoes right on top of the flour. So don't be afraid to get a little messy, come on. We want to be family if this went a little bit of a messy process, huh? Now don't worry about the sparsity of the flour, because you're going to be adding more later. You just want enough to cover the surface. This is what they call trusting the process, huh? Alright, so you can get your potatoes nice and peeled, right? Go figure, I got a cheese grater, but I got no potato peeler. The peel should come off nice and easy. Because you just soften the heck out of these. It's also a good opportunity to chop off any of those little eye thingies. the cool eyes. What do you want from me? Potatoes have eyes, corn has ears. I don't make the rules, alright? Now whether you're using a knife or a proper peeler to do this, make sure you be careful and watch your hands. You don't want to be getting no chunks of anything but potato in this pasta. Alright, once you got that nice and peeled as so, if you're using the ricer, they recommend quarters. I'm just going to try cutting these into halves here, because, I mean, it's easier to handle. Again, watch your fingers. This is sharper than it looks. He's going to grate it right on top of the potato. Grate the potato right on top of the flour. What am I saying? You want to lightly and carefully press whatever you're grating against the raised edge of the grater here. And then just move the grater back and forth. Keep your other hand pretty stationary. Be careful as the pieces get smaller. It's real easy to nick yourself. And there we go. You pretty much just rinse and repeat till you get through all your spuds. Bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a nice little pile of shredded potatoes. What you do with the peels, you just discard them. Whatever you do with them, whether you snack on them, give them to your fish, I don't know and I don't care. What do I look like, your mother? You got your nice little pile of spuds here, right? You're going to make a well in the center, which basically means that you're making a little dip in there, a hole if you will, but with still some at the bottom. It's like a potato volcano. And so once you got your well done, you're going to take your egg, separate the yolk, and drop it into the well. To separate the yolk is a very careful process. Some folks have a very fancy thingamajig or whatever that separates the yolk from the white just automatically. You drop it in, you dip it, it's done. We ain't doing that today. We're doing this the old-fashioned way. You're gonna crack your egg open like normal. Crack it very carefully over an object. As long as it's gonna catch the yolk or the white, it really don't matter. So, because it's gonna be a little messy. Just tilt it sideways as such. When you keep it two halves special, that's probably going to spill over. I'm going to take this away from the spuds. It's okay if a little drippage happens. It's normal. And then you just carefully transfer the yolk from shell to shell until you've got pretty much only yolk. Again, if there's a little white left over, it ain't going to hurt nothing, but you mainly want your yolk. You don't want all that white stuff right there. And that, again, we discard. I don't give two hoots what you do with it. Now it goes into the well. Boom. We got a yolk in the hole, right? We're going to use a fork to beat that in and mix it in with the potatoes well. Now I got a lot here. I might have to throw in another yolk. Might have overdone myself with the potatoes. Yeah, I'm going to throw in another yolk. And we move on. We keep mixing. Look, accidents happen. You just got to adapt, right? Alright, now once you got your yolk, or in my case, yolks, mixed in, you start adding in your flour to make a crumbly dough. And the stuff on the table here ain't gonna cut it. It's just like a good little base. Because these potatoes are starchy, right? They get sticky. And you want to try and do this in a cooler environment if you can. This kind of dish can be sensitive to humidity, but I live in the South, so there's not much I can do about that. I'm going to take my flour here and start incorporating it. I'm going to use my hands and step away from the fork. It's time to get a little dirty. You might want to take off your jewelry for this one, ladies. Folding this in. We don't want it nice and smooth like a biscuit or a bread dough now. You want it kind of crumbly. See, that's too smooth. We need more flour. Got a piece of potato here hanging on for dear life. Now you gotta do your best not to overwork the dough. Just do this until it's combined. The words I would describe the result that you want, a crumbly mess. Kinda like my love life, what can I tell you? Right, now that we got there we go. It's nice. We want it a little shaggy in texture. We don't want it real smooth. Still gotta be a little tacky, which it is. We're gonna set this off to the side, let it rest for 10 minutes, and clean up our station, because we want this clean for the next step. Let's just say that. Here comes the fun part, making your gnocchi. So you're gonna take a chunk of your potato here. You're gonna roll it out till it's about the width of your finger. Alright, it's alright if it's a little falling apart. That's just kind of how it happens. You're also gonna flour it. Make sure there's not too much cake in, and so it doesn't stick together too bad. You can be generous here. Believe me, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now there's one or two implements you can use to get your gnocchi. You can use a gnocchi board, which is like a slab of wood with raised edges, or you can just use a fork. You're gonna cut about 3/4 of an inch, like so. Roll your gnocchi in your hand. Well, actually you want to do it on the board. You want to roll it as such, so you get those nice little marks in it. And then you scoop it onto your towel. Now the towel's on a baking dish, but we're not baking these. These do get boiled, but this is where you want them to sit so that they'll dry proper. And you rinse and repeat until you got a lovely plate full of gnocchi. It's okay if it ain't perfect, because nothing is. Except for my grandmother's pasta. Love ya. Classically speaking, the shape of your gnocchi is going to be something like this, a little nuggety with some little ridges in it. But these are handmade and rolled by you, and hopefully your family's there to help you, because come on, this is a big job. I shouldn't be doing it by myself. But once you got your lovely little nuggets all done, you're going to set these aside, let them dry for 30 minutes before you boil them. Speaking of boiling them, let's do some prep work while that's drying, eh? So you're going to get some water here, get it nice and salted. There's my salt. Anywhere between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, salt it till you like it. Now that you got your pasta drying and your water boiling, let's get to the sauce, eh? You start by putting your pot on a low heat and melting your butter. I'll be using 4 tablespoons. Next, you're going to take your 4 tablespoons of flour and whisk it in with that melted butter. Right, once that's well and whisked together, we're going to slowly add our 2 cups of milk. Once you got your little roux made here, that's the fancy term for it, we're going to mix in our cheese. Now, you can use any type of cheese you like. I'm using 2 cups of the Mexican and 2 cups of the Parmesan. Just gives it a little extra flavor. Okay, for a little extra gets in there. It's a cheese sauce. You're not going to mess it up by adding extra cheese. Well, I mean, I guess you can if you make it too thick, but look, that's not my problem. That sounds like a you problem. And you just mix it in until it's nice and melty. Now, so if you want it to be a little thinner, add some more milk. If you want it to be a little thicker, add some more cheese. However you want to make it. Once your cheese is nice and melted in, you're going to want to put it on a low boil so that it doesn't scald your pot, but still stays nice and melty. Now, we finally got our water boiling, and we're going to boil our gnocchi in small batches. So you're going to want something like a slotted spoon to take them out a little at a time. Once it starts floating for real, you're going to want to take it out. Each noodle should only take about 30 seconds to a minute, but if it's a little thicker, it'll take a little longer. And see how they're floating in there now? Tell you what, they taste delicious. I can't wait to try it with the cheese sauce. I couldn't help myself. I had to try it, make sure it was done all the way through. You want to make sure it's a good consistency. It should be pretty dense and pillowy. You even can test it by poking it a little. If they're squishy like that, you might want to throw them back in. If they're nice and dense like that, that's what you want for your gnocchi. Once you got your boil, you can reduce the heat. And once they're dried, I do want to mention, it's okay if they're still a little sticky. You just don't want them like super doughy. Now the reason you do them in little batches like this is so they don't all stick together in the pot. Because again, they're going to be a little sticky still. Alright, now I keep adding these into the pot because while you don't want to add too many in at once, you know, they're going to get along just fine in the pot. It's not like a family reunion, you know. Everyone's going to get along just fine. As long as you don't, you know, throw them in too close together. Then it's just a madhouse, I tell you what. Alright, that might take a while depending on how much gnocchi you got going on here. But once you're done, make sure you fluff it. You don't want your gnocchi sticking together. Put on your cheese. Some recommend putting the cheese on the bottom first and then fluffing it. I'm a little impatient right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on top and see how this works out. Just going to get that nice and coated. Gnocchi and cheese, you can't beat it. Ooh, smells delicious, I tell you. Alright, after all that hard work and slaving over a hot stove for your ungrateful family, well, maybe they're nice to you. Maybe you're lucky. We gonna try this out. Alright, let's give this a try. Oh yeah. I mean, it's potatoes and cheese. You can't mess it up. And feel free to add in your own spices and seasonings if you want to jazz it up a little bit. But as this is right now, this is a pretty dang good gnocchi. I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for checking out my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And feed all your families all this delicious gnocchi. You're going to have plenty if you follow this exactly. If you like this video, let me know in my DMs. We're all family here. You can talk to me. Until then, feel free to check out my other socials. They're all linked in the website. You know where to find it. Oh, again, you can always ask me. Go on and stay peachy. Just okay? Oh no. I know. You did not just watch me slave over a hot stove 4 hours, rolling the dough, mixing the cheese to tell me my gnocchi's just okay. No. Maybe I should give Vinny and the boys a just okay phone call and get you a little bit taken care of, huh? Yeah. You're gonna enjoy it. Damn right. Best dang gnocchi you ever ate.